University. Today we'll be looking at our course for this semester is Managing Information Technology, and we're using this system. And the first chapter of this course, Managing Information Technology, is chapter 1, which is Managing IT in a Digital World. So we want to look at how we can manage IT in a digital world that we live in right now. So without much, let's begin. Without much ado, let's begin. Now, first and foremost, information technology will be splitting it into two segments. The first segment is the computer technology, and the second segment is the communication technology. So first segment in information technology, we look at the computer technology. The computer technology involves or includes the hardware, the software, and the hardware and software they're used for processing and storing information. The hardware and the software they're used for processing and storing information. And then the second part of this course is the communication technology. The communication technology includes the voice and data network. Now, the voice and data network, what are they used for in IT world? We use them for transmitting information. We use the voice and the data network for transmitting information. Okay, now let's say the whole course for this semester will be segmented to four different parts. The first part is we'll be talking about technology available in our today's world and the emerging technology trends for hardware and software, network, and data. So we're looking at four segments of this first part of this first segment of this course. The very first one is the hardware, looking at the hardware segment, and then the second one is the software segment, and the third one is the network, and the fourth one is the data. Okay, in this first whole part. And then the second part of this course, by the fourth week or thereabout, we'll be looking at the software applications to support business operations and business intelligence, as well as e-business applications and e-commerce operations. Okay, so the third segment of this course will be looking at the best practices, like the norms, the best practices for acquiring and implementing the systems and managing the IT infrastructure and IT projects that are available in our today's world. The fourth part of this course, which will be the last segment of this course before we round up the entire course for the semester, will be planning and managing the information systems department resources. How we plan the information system department resources, as well as managing the information security, the social, the ethical, and the legal issues that comes with it. Okay, so that's the introductory part of this whole course that we'll be looking at in this semester. But the first part, we'll be looking at the IT as what it has become, how it has evolved. Now it has become very pervasive. It's something we can no longer run away from, no matter what. In those days, you can work without using any IT infrastructure or IT resources. But today, it's not possible to do diligent work in an office environment or in an organization without the knowledge of IT infrastructure or IT systems. Now, it is not easy. Today is no longer used only by the back office workers, like the IT staff or the IT managers. But today, even the frontliners, those in the front desk in an organization, they have to acclimatize themselves with the IT usage. Is that okay? Now, more and more employees are reliant on IT for getting their job done in an organization. So if you want to be able to get the job or any task that is given to you done, you have to get yourself acquainted with the hardware processes and the software, especially the basic software processes like the operating systems and the likes of Windows and all of this. You have to and the Microsoft. You have to get yourself very acquainted. For example, the spreadsheet. You have to learn all these software packages and the PowerPoint, how to make PowerPoint for presentation in an organization. So you have to get yourself acquainted with this IT system in order to excel in a working environment. Both especially the front desk, not only the back and the IT support staff any longer. In the past, it used to be the back end IT staff and IT managers that are solely responsible for the usage of IT, mostly in every organization. But in today's world, both the back end and the front end are to be fully equipped for IT job in an organization. Now, business manager, not just the IT manager, Now also the business manager themselves are responsible for IT investment and effective system utilization. So the business manager, not only the IT manager, together with the IT manager, they have to ensure a very strong plan for utilization and investment process. Now, in the past, if you look at by the year 2000, the total annual cost of IT purchases was more than since the year 2000. The IT infrastructure purchases was now more than the half of the annual capital expenditure of businesses in developed countries of the world. You put together, all of them put together. So the sales of IT infrastructures or IT equipment was more than the entire business expenditures of all the developed countries in the world. So which means when we enter the new millennium, IT's growth rate became tremendous, became very tremendous, super tremendous, that it surpassed the entire capital expenditures of developed countries all put together. So you can see the trend. We're going to start the history from in the early 80s or the 18th centuries. Okay. Now IT is linking the emerging economy, the developing economy, and the developed economies. Is linking them up and providing a level playing field for all economies, both the developed economies, the emerging economy, which is, and then the developing economies. All of them, the emerging are the superpower, like the BRIC nations, and then the developing ones and the developed economies. All of them, the IT infrastructure is creating a level playing field. This is how China became emerged with the introduction of IT infrastructure, emerged from being a very poor nation just 50 years ago to become one of the second largest economy in the world as of today. Okay, so now let's take a look at the recent information technology trends that we have. First, we're going to look at, if you look at the technology trend, we have to look at it from different segments. We look at the hardware, the computer hardware perspective, we look at the software perspective, we look at the network, and we look at the data itself. So let's start with the computer hardware. In the computer hardware, one of the things we've achieved over the years is that the hardware computers become faster than it was in the 1960s, become faster, become cheaper. Why? Because we've developed more integrated circuits, smaller microchips and integrated circuits to make the size smaller and affordable. And you can take a look at how computers started and the computer we have today. The simplest and the smallest computer we have today is our mobile phone. Okay, the smallest computer we have today is the mobile phone we put in the pocket everywhere we go. You can see how the mainframe computer, the macro computer and mainframe computers of the 1960s, 1920s, how they've evolved to just a small computers that we can put in our pocket and move about. Okay, so you can tell you how they become cheaper. You can buy a smartphone for like 300 ringgit or less than $100 or $100. You can buy a smartphone, Android smartphone. So you can see the trend, what has happened over the years, development, the compartment, the smallability, and every facet of it that has followed over the years and how it has become enabled business today. Okay. Now we say computers have become smaller and faster. They become smaller. You can imagine, you can download. We'll talk about, when we come to the software, we'll talk about for example, if you're using the Android computers, or you call them Android phones, you go to what they call the Play Store, or if you're using the Apple phones, you go to the app stores and you download any software package, and you see the downloadability of this software and the compatibility of the software and the hardware, how it has evolved over time and how it has made life easy for people, and how it has made life easy for business growth and for countries, emerging economies, developing economies, how it has given them the opportunity at the platform to catch up with the developed economies. Okay. Another thing we're looking at is the hardware prices have dropped tremendously from what it was in the 1970s when we have the or in the 60s when we have the mainframe computers, to 1970s when we have the microcomputers, to the 1980s when we have the IBM personal computers, to the 1990s when we have the personal digital assistant, to the 2005 when we introduced laptops. Okay, when we introduced laptop, you can see the size as it's downsizing over the years. The computer hardware had been downsizing over the years. So up to when we get to laptop in 2005, and even up to when we got to smartphone in 2007, So in 2007, the first smartphones were introduced. So you can see, ever since we introduced smartphone, it has been something else. It has been something else. The evolvement, the development, the usability, and the growth for business. You can imagine you can buy anything from China, for example, like you download from Alibaba.com. Okay, you can buy anything from China, and it will be delivered to you wherever you are. You can buy from anywhere, and you can buy from Amazon, it will be delivered to wherever country, whichever country you are. So you can see the involvement, the globalization, how this IT has enabled businesses. Even these businesses that used or seems to be very small, in their own micro way became very big. So you see how IT technology has leveled the small economy or emerging economy or developing economy and giving them the platform to catch up with the developed economy. Now with IT, we've had high growth. Since with computer hardware, we've had high growth in small mobile devices for communications and access to the internet. Because one, we have the internet. We're going to talk about the network. When we're talking about the internet, we're talking about the network, which is the third phase. First is the computer hardware. Second is the computer software. Third is the network, which is the internet, where we talk about the internet. So these are the facets of IT. Then we talk about the data and the voice, which is the fourth one, the data and the voice, how the eligibility and how this has enabled growth and prosperity in our businesses and in our today's world. Now, let's take a look at some of the things that have gone wrong or predictions that did not come to pass or that were wrong, completely wrong by the world leaders. We'll just take like one or two of these predictions in the past that they say. They say, for example, they say this telephone, when telephone was first invented, this telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. This statement was by the Western Union Internal Memo of 1876. But can we say that today? 1876. So this was the Western Union Internal Memo they circulated. So this telephone that has just been invented is of no value. It has a lot of problems, series of problems, because it had its challenges in the early days. So, but that does not mean the human mind cannot evolve or improve or whatever we've come up with. But today, that cannot be said. Mobile telephony has conquered the world. With telephone, you can attend the conferences around the world. You can telework. You can teleconference. You can shop online. You can watch movie online. You can do anything. You can school online with mobile phones. So you can see the involvement and the growth that has taken place. How this has, the whole computer system infrastructure has revolutionized the entire globe. Now let's take a look at another statement that has been made over the years that has also gone wrong, that was never correct. I think there is a world market for maybe 5 computers only. This was Thomas Waidsum, the chairman of IBM, in 1943. He was like a self-defeatist. Like, oh, I think there's only a market for 5 computers only, because he couldn't believe that this will become what it is today. Now take a look at where we are. We have more than 2 to 3 billion computers in the hands of people. Okay, now let's say another one that has gone wrong was, but what is it? What is it a microchip good for? This microchip, what is it good for? The microchip today that has revolutionized the electronic circuitry. This was the engineer at the Advanced Computing System Division of IBM of 1968. So they felt this microchip that was developed was good for nothing. That it was good for nothing. The microchip was good for nothing. But today is not true. You have the Intel, right? The Pentium and how it has evolved from the core processing part of the computer. How it has evolved to what we have today, the i5, the i7, processing speed and capacity and capability of the system. So let's move on. There are many things that have gone wrong, which you can check out. Now let's take a look at recent information technology trends also. Now in this case, we are done with the hardware. We've overviewed the hardware. Now let's take a look at the software. Now in the case of software, a software must be that integral part of something that can be integrated to the hardware. If a software is not integratable, then it will not be, there will be no compatibility and there will be no smooth operation. So one of the features of a software is that it must be being able to be integrated with the hardware, just like a human being. In human system, we have the body and we have the soul. The soul is the software. The body is the hardware. If you take out the soul, the body is dead. If you take out the software, the hardware of the computer is dead. There's nothing you can use the ordinary hardware to do. The ordinary hardware has nothing. Okay, although it has its electronic circuitry, but on its own, it cannot perform the data integration and manipulations that you want it to do for you. So you need the software to be integrated with the hardware in order to give the fitting. Now, the second part of a software is that a software must be downloadable. A software must be downloadable, meaning if a software is good enough, it must be downloadable from the internet. Must be downloadable, must be uploadable in the internet, and must be able to be downloadable on the internet and be installed on the computer. If a software is a good one, it must be social. Social means there must be a social network for such a software. Can be used for social networking, social standardization, and all of the complexity that comes with it. Now let's take a look at the first integral part of this software, the integrated one, the integrated concept. Now we say integration is standardization, and standardization has enabled more integrations, right? When you standardize all software, there's a standard format that the software should be made into, or the hardware should be made. Then there will be easy integration between the software and the hardware. Now, many standards are de facto standards. Yes, what do we mean by de facto standards? They are by default. They are by default. So when we say de facto standard, they are by default. So by default, they can fit into the hardware by default. A good example is the Microsoft Windows. Okay, so any computers, you can install the Microsoft Windows. So it's a de facto standard. Okay, the Microsoft Windows, the Microsoft Office, the Internet Explorer, they are by default. You can just download them and install them in the computer. So they are de facto software. Now, and then another thing about integration or integrated part of this software is that many companies have benefited from enterprise system investment. For example, in the hospital, we use this software like database in the hospital to record the data of all the patients. Okay, so this enterprise software like software packages with integrated modules that pass common business transactions across groups, divisions, and geographical location in real time. So these are called enterprise software packages that have integrated modules. You can plug in, plug out. Okay, like for example, LMS, learning management system. If you develop an LMS for educational system, it must be able to have compatibility to be plugged in, plug out into a website, and has real-time application, so to say. Now let's go to the downloadability of the software system. Now, a good software must have a bit-sized software package. Bit-size, not byte, just bit-size, so that it's easy for downloading. Okay, must have bit-sized software program for smartphone, downloadable from app stores or downloadable from Play stores. Today, if we want any software, you just go to, if you are using Android, like we said earlier on, you just go to the Play Store. If you are using Apple devices, you go to the app stores, and then there's now App Gallery. If you're using Hawaii, there's App Gallery. You just go there and download whatever software. With software you want. You want YouTube, you download YouTube from your Play Store or App Store or App Gallery. You want social networking like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, or X, what you call X now. You just go to the Play Store and download. Not only that, even mobile banking. You go to the Play Store, App Store, download the software of the bank and install on your phone. There are many applications today. Netflix, you want to watch movie for entertainment, you just go to your Play Store, App Gallery, and download the software and install in your mobile device. And life is as easy as that now. You can imagine what it was in the past. You can see how these companies who are doing this become billions. These IT companies using the IT infrastructure become billion-dollar companies. Why? Because they believe and they understood the power of how to use IT infrastructure to reach the entire globe. So when you're doing business, you should think of how you can scale it up and make it a system that can reach such a downloadable stage and can be in the Play Store, App Store, and App Gallery. And so your software package for such should be bit-sized, not so heavy for people to download and install in their system. So you should make a compatible software sizes to be uploaded in in the Play Store, App Store, and App Gallery. Now, another feature of the downloadable is that download speed has to be increased so that even large files can be downloaded by the users. The download speed must be increased when you are programming your software that should be available on the App Store, Play Store. Now, let's take a look at, apart from downloadable, apart from the first one, which is integrated, second one, downloadable package of a good software should also be social. Now, in social network, we go to the Growth Web 2.0. Growth Web 2.0 was when we came into social media, the era of social media. Growth of Web 2.0 was when we came into the era of social media, the YouTube, the Facebooking, the Instagramming, all of this stuff, the LinkedIn, all of this stuff, they are called the social. They are used for social network, social businesses, social relations, and so on and so forth. So, and then in social, should be used by companies for marketing and branding activities. So all of those social medias are they are for play. They are not only for play, they are for business. You have to use them to market and reach out to people so that people will know about your business today, okay? And used by companies for marketing and branding activities, also collaboration tools connect the employees across distance, okay? From social network, your employees can create groups and network. For example, like the WhatsApp group, and they are all social media coverage. So the employees are able to create group chat, group meeting, group whatever in the social network. Now we've done the hardware, computer hardware. Now we've talked about the computer software. Now let's talk about the computer networks. Now networks should have high bandwidth. You know, high bandwidth, the speed must be high bandwidth. Network should have high bandwidth, and today's network should be wireless. If you want to cover a very wide range, should be wireless and should be cloudy. What do you mean by cloudy? The storage should be in the cloud. Your data should be stored in the cloud, not just in one storage location, okay? Because if it's in one storage location, like your external disk, external whatever, it's not accessible anywhere, any day. And if your external disk, hardware, thumbware, penware, whatever storage media you're using, once it gets broken or got missing, then you lose all your data. But if it's in the cloud, you can access the cloud from anywhere and everywhere you find yourself. Is that okay? So now let's take a look at the computer network. Should have high demand for high-speed internet access. Okay, so your network, because it has high bandwidth, should have high demand for high-speed internet access, and should be wireless. You should use wireless technology to replace wired lines, because if you're using wired lines, in the case of desktop, like you have to, if you're using wireless, if your office is meant multiple floors, you can go any floor and do your work. You can carry the computer anywhere. You can, like, it's very flexible to use wireless. You can go some distance away, even from where you are, you can still use wireless network. Is that okay? So it should be wireless in today's world. That the use of internet to access remote hosts, data storage, and IT capability from the cloud. Okay, use of internet. With internet as our network, you can access the remote host. As I'm speaking now, I'm in a corner in the world. I'm somewhere in the whole world, a small corner in the whole world. But you can access me from anywhere and everywhere you are. Whether you're in Africa, you are in America, you are in Asia, you are in Oceania, you are in any continent you find yourself, you are in Europe, any continent you find yourself, you can access me. Why? Because you have internet, you have access to internet. Because this class will be uploaded to the internet, and you can download it, you can record it, you can use it, you can store it, you can whatever you want. Okay, because it's going to be saved in the cloud. This will be saved in the cloud. So this is it. This is what it is in today's world. Now let's take a look at a brief of the history. In the 1960s, we developed the ARPANET. In the 1960s, we created in the late 1960s, we created the ARPANET. From there, we moved on in the 1990s, we developed what we call the World Wide Web, WWW. We created the World Wide Web for our internet. And then in the 2000, by the early 2000, we developed the high-speed internet connection that is widely available today, right? We developed the high-speed one, the high-speed internet connection in the early 2000s, like 2001, 2002. That was the emergence of Facebook because of the high-speed internet and the YouTube. Because when YouTube first came, Google came in 1998. there was no high-speed internet. So because of this, they were like many companies were working on how and the America system, they're working on how to come up with high-speed internet that can support a global reach. Now, after that, in 2005, number of internet users top 1 billion, reached 1 billion after they developed the high-speed internet, right? But today we have what we call the wireless internet access. It's now common in every location today. The wireless internet has taken over. Okay, now let's quickly take a look at new ways to compete as a business, to use your IT infrastructure to compete as a small business, to compete and grow. You first of all have to find how to reduce costs. One of the ways to reduce costs is to introduce IT system, IT, information technology or information system in your business. So use IT to upgrade your system. So to competing with other businesses by lowering your costs, you have to lower your costs for a good service. And to do this, you need IT, you need information service, right? Information technology. Now, how do you need information technology? You need to automate your transaction time. You need IT. In order to have low cost, you need to automate your transaction time. You need IT, right? And you also need to shortly order cycle time. If people order your goods, and then how? So you have to have just something in the Play Store, your app, where people can quickly order, and the workers are seeing it and they're packaging it and delivering it as fast as possible. So you shortly the order cycle time. You need IT infrastructure, and this is how you can lower costs. These are ways you can lower costs and make you competitive with the big business. Another thing is provide the operational information for decision making. All the operational information must be brought to the management's decision in order to improve and get better. Another thing you need to do in order to compete in today's world using IT infrastructure is differentiation. Now, what do you mean by differentiation? You must be able to come up with a competitive alternative. Okay, a competitive alternative. It could be alternative product or alternative service or alternative way of serving the same product. You must differentiate yours from what is already in existing market that is known. So they are brands, they are already known brands. So you must come up with something that we steer the ship, that we shake the people's mind and start to look at your whole product. So you must look at how you can offer services and product that the customer prefer to the superiority in product innovativeness that you're going to bring. You know what is already there? You have to bring a superior innovation or improve the quality, or even if you cannot improve the quality of the product, please improve the customer service. Improve the customer service using your IT infrastructure to serve the people better, faster, quicker, and this will bring about a differentiation in existing product. Either you improve the quality of the product, or you improve the quality of the service you give them, or you innovate and make the product better. For example, when we have BlackBerry developed a software for pinging, but BlackBerry refused to share with other phones. So the software died with BlackBerry. And when other Android phone emerged, BlackBerry refused to integrate that software into they remain where they were. They refused to innovate. They couldn't innovate, and they couldn't liaise with other businesses. They remained in the past. That's what killed them. And the same thing with Nokia. When Nokia came, they refused to innovate. They remained in the past. The life evolved. We went to a smart world. They were still doing the manual phones. So the world left them behind. So you must find a way to differentiate, product differentiation, if you want to survive in today's business world. Okay? Now, by doing this, you give sales personal information to better serve their customers. You must give sales personnel, all your sales personnel in your organization, give them orientation, give them training on the sales methodology or the skills that you have, or the product, the quality of the product, how they can serve the people better. So the sales personnel must be given serious IT training. And then another thing you can do, you have to provide just-in-time supplies for customers. If someone orders something, before he realizes it, you deliver the product. What beats that? Someone thinks something that people used to order for 2 weeks, they're waiting, 1 month they're waiting. Like they get it 2 days, 1 day, 2 days from China to another country. It comes within 2, 3 days. You can't imagine it. So when you do this, when you have this IT infrastructure to enable quick supplies, then this will bring you into limelight. Creating new information-based product. New information-based product. So your product must like kind of evolve and bring out new informations and new things. And people want to see this. You see what iPhones they're doing. iPhone 16 Pro Max, iPhone. Every year we have new iPhone 15. We've left 15, now we're in 16. We were in 14 a few years ago, 2 years ago. Now we're in 15, 16. Today we're in 16. Next year they will be bringing 17. This is it. They want to stay relevant. If they stop and they're not bringing new brand, trust me, the company will die naturally. It will die naturally. So you have to continuously and constantly bring new information-based product, new information-based product. Even if you just upgrade a little bit of the camera only, because the softwares are already the same. Maybe they just touched the camera a little bit. They made it better, the camera. They made just a little bit of thing, when you give it another name and give another information and say, oh, this can do this can capture the whole world, and so on and so forth. But to be frank, it's they're similar, almost same with the previous one. But you have to keep innovating like this, no matter how small, to keep your product up to date and to keep people on their toes for your product, running for your product. Then you have to allow product customization by the customer. Okay? Allow product customization by the customer. For example, if I want to customize your product, I can buy a volume of goods from you and I say, oh, I want you to customize it for me. Put my name. Put my name or put my brand name for this product. Manufacture for me, I buy so quantity in my name. Allow it. Yeah, because it's buying volume. So that's a low, it's a big, because he wants to go and cover a region or what you are after the money, right? You're after the business survival. So he buys it, goes sell in his place, is in local place. Maybe that local name will sell for him in his own region. So do not enforce that. Allow product customization by your customer. Then we say, in other words, both the low cost and differentiation should be enabled by IT. Okay, to create low cost product, you use IT infrastructure. To differentiate your product, you need IT. Okay, now let's move on quickly. New ways for people to work using IT. These are new ways. One is commuters. People don't have to physically be traveling to office to go and work nowadays. It was heavy. We proposed this somewhere 2014, but a lot of people say we are crazy. It's not possible that people will no longer go to office to go and work. But when COVID came in 2019, by the end of 2019, when the COVID came and shut the whole world down, and then everybody saw it was possible because we realized it during our studies or after our studies, we realized it that it's possible to actually have a telecommunications, and you don't have to physically be anywhere and everywhere, because we could realize it that with the mobile telephone, you are talking to someone in another country. Then how come you cannot work even if you are far apart? Okay, so one of the individuals who use mobile technology or network connections, can use it to work remotely. They can use it once you have a mobile phone with internet, you can use it to work remotely. Now, what are the things you can do? What are the advantages if you want to telecommute? What are the advantages? Number one is flexibility. So it's very flexible. You don't have to be traveling every morning, running to office with jam, being in a jam. If you're in the big city like Lagos City, New York City, if you're in the big city of the world, Singapore, if you're in the big cities of the world, Kuala Lumpur, if you're in the big city of the world, you don't have to. It's very flexible. You can just wake up in the morning, take shower, take your breakfast, and start your work. Or even wake up and start your work later on during break time. You can go do those things. That's one. Another thing is work-life balance, meaning you can work because you're working from home and still have time for your family. Okay, the hold up used to take like 2 to 3 hours from everyone. Those 2 to 3 hours that the hold up takes from you when you go to work and come back every day, the 3 hours wasted, you can use that 3 hours to attend to your family. So you have a work-life balance. Your life and your work balances. your children can grow under your watch, and you can be able to educate them properly and better. Okay, so these are the pros. The pros. There are more pros anyway, but let's take a look at the cons. Let's take a look at the cons. Cons are like the disadvantages. What are the disadvantages of working from home? One is feeling of being isolated. Sometimes you may be feeling isolated. Yeah, it happens, you be feeling isolated, feeling like you don't, that vibe you used to have in the office may not be there physically. Okay, that's number one. Number two is the concern about job promotion opportunity. Okay, maybe the promotion may not be as rampant as like your boss is seeing you every day, see how you're working hard for the company. So it may not be that obvious, even though it's there. It may not be that obvious. Now that's number one, telecommuters. Number two advantage of number two ways, new ways upon which people work today using IT infrastructure. The second one is the virtual teams. Geographically separated work teams whose members communicate through the use of IT infrastructure. Now, in the past, this was not possible, but today people can work as a team from different parts of the world. For example, our IT technicians for Waidsum Online University are in different countries. Some of them are in Pakistan, some are in India, some are in Uzbekistan. So they are not in one place. Our head of our human resources in Uzbekistan. So they are all scattered across the world. But we are working virtually. Okay? So the virtual team can work together. Groups can be created in WhatsApp. Google Meet can be created for meeting. Microsoft Meet can be created for meeting. And Zoom can be used for meeting. And all of this software that has been developed and that are capable with our computers or our mobile phones are all there for us to work as a team and easily. Now, let's take a look at the pros of virtual teams. The advantage. When we talk about the pros, we're talking about the advantages of the virtual teams. Number one is that workers can be located anywhere and everywhere. We've mentioned this. I've given you examples of some of our staff, how they're scattered everywhere and anywhere. Okay, so we say workers can be scattered anywhere and everywhere. Number one. Number two, advantages of the virtual team is that team can be composed of members with specialized skills from different business units or different companies or even different countries. Members can come from different units. See, for example, most of our lecturers, they are lecturers of other physical universities. But because this is very flexible, they can do the online lecture at home when they close from their physical university. They can still do this job. Okay? So you can see the flexibility. So team can be composed of special people with special skills from different business, meaning different universities, and different units, even if same different units, and or different companies or different countries, different regions, and working together. Now let's take a look at the disadvantages of virtual teams. Number one is the coordination across the team members is a little bit more difficult, the coordinations. Okay, except you have a very strong system, then it's the disadvantage is reduced. Now let's take new ways for people to work using IT. Let's take another free agents. You can be agent to anywhere everywhere and serve another company by helping them recruit what they want. For example, you can be agent to hotels and send them people. You can be agent to universities and send them people. You can be agent to insurance company and send them to people because of IT infrastructure. Individuals who choose to contract out their services are not tied to an organization at all. For example, we may decide not to even have IT units. Anytime we need IT to solve IT problem, we can contract it out because we're virtual. So we contract free agent who can solve the problem, and they solve the problem for us, and we pay them based on that. Is that okay? So this is what it is. Now let's take a look at the advantage. Work may change more than when an employee of a single organization. Okay, so it's because they are not just your employee, you just subcontract the work out. The work may change more than when an employee of organization is working for you. Okay, they might serve you better. So no time, you minimize time. You don't have to waste salary every month. You only pay for the job that you contract out and so on and so forth. Let's take a look at the cons, which are the disadvantages. Lack of benefits, okay, because those people who are working for you, you contract, like your free agent, you don't give them any benefit. They only earn the contractor amount. Okay, we say, okay, $100, fix this small problem. They fix, halas, done. You don't give them monthly benefit or honorarium or whatever, leave allowance, no allowance, no benefit for them. Okay, you save more money. Another disadvantage is the unpredictability in scheduling and work. Maybe it may be unpredictable because if you have your IT specialists in your organization, they fix the work every day as the problem comes. But this one, you may reach your contractor, your free agent, they may be busy doing some other work. They ask you for 2-3 days before they will be able to have chance to fix your problem. So this is one of the problem. Okay. Now let's go to what we call the information system. Remember, the information system department is responsible for handling all the IT in an organization. The information system department handles and manages all the IT related inventories in an organization. So the information system department can change or vary greatly across businesses. Depends on the business and the business side. Depending on the organization's dependency on IT. So it depends on how that business uses IT a lot or use IT a little bit. So it depends on all of this. And this create a reliable and secure business operation. If you are using a lot of IT, it will make your business to be more reliable and more business friendly, and also create a competitive advantage based on new technology. Because your business is always using IT, it will give you a competitive advantage over other businesses. Okay, now let's take a look at an example of managing IT in an organization. Now, an example of information system organization is the support mode. Okay, meaning it can be used for support mode. In support mode, you low need for new information. So there's not much need for new information technology. Okay, for support, you don't need new. Once the information technology is already fixed for you, you just use it because you're just using it to support your business. Okay, if you are using for support, you don't need new. You low need. The need is not very high for new information technology. That's number one. Also, low need for reliable and secure information system for business operation is low. It's very low. It's not so high for reliable and secure because it's already done for you. Okay, it's not. You're just using it for support. If you're using it for support mode, so you have low need for new information system and no need for reliable and secure information technology. And also, IT used mostly to support back office support functions. Okay, we use IT mostly in many organizations, just to support the back office. Okay, the back office system support function. Okay, now let's go to another way we can use the IT. Way we can use the IT is the strategic mode. Okay, strategic mode. In the strategic mode, we have high need for new information system, of course, because for strategy, planning, and execution. So for in order to have competitive advantage, you need to have what? High need for new information technology. If you are not innovating enough, you're not bringing new system, other business will surpass you. So if you want to have a strategic mode, you want to use it for a strategic mode, you must have high need for information system technology for new ones. Now, also high need for reliable and secure information technology. If you are using for what? For strategic mode, you must create a high need for reliable and secure information technology for your business operations. Strategically dependent on IT to enable new business strategy. Okay, if you're using for strategic planning, you must need new information system and you must have a reliable and secure system. Okay. Now let's take a look at the 3 types of IT resources we have in our organization. The 3 types of IT resources which you have. You check your organization if it has all of this. The first one is the technology infrastructure. What are technology infrastructure that we should have in our business? Like computers. You should have computers in your offices. Software. You should purchase software that the computer needs to work with. Network. You have internet. The office should have internet in order to be like a real IT infrastructure company. Okay, network informations also across the organization unit as well as business partners. Okay, you need network information. That's number one, other technology infrastructure. Number two, other human resource. Yeah, human resource. For IT, you must have IT human resource. When we are saying human resource now, we are saying people who are skilled and specialize in IT. We are talking about the IT professionals. We are talking about, when we say human resource, we are talking about the IT professionals, IT managers, IT network experts, okay, security expert, network security experts, okay, IT planners, IT designers. You must have all of this, okay. IT professionals and managers who have the needed mix of technology and business and interpersonal skills to plan and execute and design and manage your IT infrastructures are all needed in any business. The third one is the business IT relationship. The business on one hand and the IT infrastructure relationship must be correlated, Without correlation, the business will not work. They will be working separately. They will not integrate to maximize and give you that competitive advantage that you need to succeed in your business world. Now, establish relationship between business and IT workers to ensure that the other IT resources are aligned with the business needs. Okay? Now let's move on to the IT leadership role. In the IT leadership role, the number one person is called the Chief Information Officer. In some organization, in some we call the Chief Technology Officer. Okay? So whether it's Chief Technology Officer or Chief Information Officer, same thing. They're the head of the entire IT management group. They report directly to the CEO or the president of the organization. Is that okay? So that's what it is. A firm's high-level general IT manager. You are calling general IT manager. You're not just saying manager or general manager. The highest level general IT manager is what we call the Chief Information Officer. Is that okay? He's responsible for the planning, the business planning, education, IT planning, IT integration with the business and experience. So it should be integrated with the business and the business plan and the strategy and the goal of the business and the goal of the IT to achieve the goal of the business. Is that okay? To give you a strategic advantage or competitive advantage for your business. Okay? Now, two primary responsibilities of this guy, Chief Information Officer. One is the computer and communication operation. He must ensure the computer communicate with themselves and with the rest of the world but while doing your business. The second one is acquiring and maintaining the application software. Which application software does the business need to succeed? Like, for example, if you are running a bank, you need a banking software to be able to carry out transactions or whatever you need to do with it. So the IT Chief Information Officer must be able to acquire that bank software and integrate it with all the physical infrastructure like the computers and the communication gadget in order to ensure smooth operation is going on in the bank. Okay. Now here is the hierarchical chart, the organizational chart, where you have the president or the CEO. Then the next to him is the Chief Information Officer when it comes to IT department. He's responsible for enterprise architecture, planning, and finance, system operation. He must ensure that every operation is working fine in terms of IT-related aspect. Corporate application, the payroll system is working fine, and the IT groups are working fine. The VP IT retirement group are working fine. The individual, everything must ensure everything is running fine. So with this, we've come to the end of our today's class, and thank you for joining us today.